Welcome back to 30 at 6 on Cecil TV. Today is Monday, February 10th. I'm Allison Donnelly.
And I'm Rob Churnside. And who do we have here, Allison?
Oh, this is Chief Donnelly. This is our golden retriever, and this is his television debut.
So
don't be fooled. He's here for the Jerusalem Artichokes.
He runs the house, right?
He does.
So when the household is counted at the census, is Chief, he'll have to be counted then?
I think so, and we'll have to explain our relationship to him.
Right. Okay. Well, the census is coming up.
Yes, the census is coming up, and it's very important as we've talked to. So we have Tom Kenny on tonight. You'll be talking to him about how to sign up as an enumerator, which is a census taker. But I thought we should talk a little bit about why it's so important for the average household to get involved.
2010 was the last one, 10 years ago.
Right.
I don't remember doing anything.
I don't either. I was a kid.
In general, not just with the census. But it's important. It's important for funding or something, right?
Yeah, so the census determines, or the number of people that the census counts in a given area determines how much funding the area receives for education and infrastructure projects, and also our representation at the state and federal levels.
That is
extremely important.
So April 1st is Census Day.
Yes.
And I'll be getting something in the mail.
Yeah, so 95%, vast majority of people will receive their census invitation by mail, and that will tell people to go online to fill it out. And so you get 6 opportunities to respond by mail, and if you don't respond by mail, or if you don't respond to one of those 6, then an enumerator is going to come knocking on your door.
And that's what Tom's going to tell us about. Enumerators.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Turbinators, but not at all. Friendly people.
Friendly
just
people.
Want the information, basic information too.
Yeah. He was just telling us that, I didn't realize this, that the because of Title 13, which is a law that has passed since the previous census, there's no really personal information. There's your name and your birth date and a few other things, and then information about your relationships with other people in the household. But
that should really cool out a lot of people who are leery about being involved in the census.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how many people we have in Cecil County now.
Yeah. I know. I thought the last count was about 100,000 households, but as we also learned from Tom, the last time around there was a 30% non-response rate, which means we lost out on, he'll tell us.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, that's Valentine's Day's coming up.
Yeah, I know. I heard you've got some household chores going on.
Well, I'm going to make
your honey-do list.
If you enjoy this, you're my tester. This is my Jerusalem Artichoke project. I'm thinking about making my wife some of this for Valentine's Day lovely dinner, but I want to make sure it's okay first.
Okay.
Now look,
you
might be leery. This is a Jerusalem Artichoke.
Right. We learned about this last week.
You saw me picking it.
Mm-hmm.
Howdy. Rob Churnside here for Cecil TV. Digging in my Cecil soil, I found something that looks like this. You can see attached to it that little tuber. This was once a nice little flower that looked like a little baby sunflower. It's called a Jerusalem artichoke. Look for where the roots are and dig. You'll find them. I'm going to tell you how to cook them and eat them. Mmm.
So that's raw.
They're tasty raw.
Yeah?
Crunchy. So try what I cooked there.
So what did it tell us about this?
It has garbanzo beans, tofu, spices, and onions.
Okay.
And Jerusalem artichokes, which I sauteed.
They're kind of potato-like.
Mm-hmm. But they're sweet. They have a sweetness to them.
Yeah, like a little bit of a spice too.
And and you can just go out and collect them. They look like little tall baby sunflowers, about like that, and they grow like by cornfields and stuff like that. And
they're pretty good. I like it. This is like something I'd make for lunch.
They've been used in a lot of different cultures, and you can make alcohol out of them too.
Have you tried that?
No.
Oh.
No, we're just going to stick with the food.
Yeah, let's do that.
Food for thought, eh?
Yeah. So what else is going on?
Waiting for spring. My daffodils are up.
Great.
And there's no snow for Cecil County in my phone, anyway.
I have not seen any. There's quite a bit of rain this week. And then I think it's supposed to get colder toward the end of the week. Something that we should mention is the citizens, the meeting where citizens can provide input on the budget is tomorrow evening at the administration building at 6 p.m.
So that would be Tuesday, the 11th of February.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so if you have thoughts or opinions about how our tax dollars should be spent in Cecil County in the next fiscal year, you should head over to the county administration building tomorrow. We'll be there.
Good deal. All right. Great.
We'll be back.
Welcome back to 30 at 6, Cecil County, the world, and specifically the United States of America. It's time to stand up and be counted. And we have a fellow here, Tom Kenny, who's going to help us out. Tom, welcome.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you for having me.
from the Census Department.
The 2020 Census, I am a recruiting assistant for Cecil County. It's my job to drive people to the website, 2020census.gov, get them to sign up for the 2020 Census. Most of the positions we're hiring are called enumerators, sometimes called census takers. The job pays $19 an hour, 58 cents a mile. You get paid every week. You work around where you live, and you tell them how many hours a week you want to work.
Wow. So the enumerators or census takers get $19 an hour.
$19 an hour.
Starting roughly...
This April 1st is Census Day. The largest project we're going to be involved in will be the non-response follow-up, which will start a couple of weeks after that.
Okay.
And run through September of 2020.
And we were talking earlier, Tom, you said that this endeavor is the largest peacetime undertaking in the country.
For the government, yes. They expect to hire over 500,000 people nationwide for this project.
Wow. That's a lot of enumerators.
It's a lot of people.
So these census takers, they get 58 cents a mile, $19 an hour, and they work how many hours a week?
As many as they like.
So they set their own schedule?
They set their own schedule. That's not a bad deal.
Well, certainly there's an amount of training involved.
Yes, there's a paid training period. They tell me it's going to be 10 days, but they haven't come out with a schedule yet. Hopefully they'll do that soon.
So step number one for somebody interested in becoming a census taker is to go to 2020census.gov.
Correct.
Gov.
Correct.
And then they will be directed how to apply or who to
Correct.
contact.
Yes. Now, it's a pretty straightforward application. There is an additional section if you wanted to be considered for a supervisory position. So a couple extra questions. You don't have to do it, but if you do it, you increase your chances of getting a position. Can't be that hard. I took it, and they took me. So, but the application is available in Spanish as well as English.
Muy bien.
However, if you take it in Spanish, you need to pass an English proficiency test at the end of the process.
Right. And that may be important because I know in Cecil County we have some migrant workers that may or may not really want to stand up and be counted.
Correct.
For various reasons.
Right.
So that Spanish speaking might be really helpful for somebody.
And we have literature in Spanish as well. One thing that I should point out is this time around there is no personal information contained in the census. It's 8 questions. Your name, your birthday, your gender, your nationality, and a couple of questions about how you're related to other people in the house.
So that's significant because some people were leery of having their personal information out there last time.
Yes, they were, and as a result of, in response to those worries, the government passed a law called Title 13, which states the census cannot share information with any other agency. So if there were personal information on there, it would be safe, but there is none, and so that should speed up the process rapidly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One other thing before I forget, this time it's a little different. There are 3 ways to respond: online, by phone, or on paper. So March 15, the online goes live. so people can start filling out their census on March 15th.
So you will get an email, or you contact the census to do it online?
There'll be notices put up, and you'll be a way to contact. You need to go to the website and get a personal ID number that you would use to self-report, as they call it, your information.
Okay, and that'll be taken into effect. And the whole thing starts prior to Census Day, and with people going out and checking, like, if there was an abandoned house that was in the census last time, they checked that ahead of time, right?
Yes, they did. They spent several months mapping, checking the old maps and creating new ones. Some streets were added, some were omitted, but it should be a much cleaner product this time than the last time. I did work on the 2010 census, and this time around there's a lot more use of satellite technology, so that the map should be much more accurate.
Good. Well, it's important for everyone to stand up and be counted, right?
Correct, absolutely.
There's money involved.
There's lots of money involved. Yes. For Cecil County last time had a 30% non-response rate. For each person who doesn't respond to the census, it costs the county $1,825 per person per year in lost federal subsidies.
Oh, so that's how that works.
Yeah. In addition to that, the numbers the census generates are used to determine representation in Congress, representation at the State House, planning for highways, and schools, and hospitals. Businesses use the statistics to determine if they want to come to Cecil County and start a business.
Right.
So that's why we need the most accurate information we can get.
Well, I'm sure that people will furnish that information, especially if we get some workers out there to go out there and collect it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Looking forward to people going to 2020census.gov and sign up and help yourself earn a good wage and help your community by helping the census get counted correctly.
Sounds like a plan, Tom.
Thank you much. Pleasure.
Welcome back to 30 at 6. Tonight we have Lily Jackson, who's Cecil TV's new staff member, on the other side of the camera to talk to us about the Trump administration's new policy to impose work requirements for SNAP beneficiaries. Lily, thanks so much for being here.
I'm excited.
So tell us what's going on.
Okay, so I heard that Trump administration has signed a policy that could possibly affect 700,000 Americans and 30,000 Marylanders.
Wow.
Now, the Secretary of Agriculture, Mr. Sonny Perdue, he had a conference with the Trump administration asking them to enforce the intent of the SNAP benefits program. Now, the original intent of the SNAP benefits program was to take low-income families from dependency to independency. Mr. Perdue is saying, yeah, of course, we should help people, but we shouldn't help them internally. Now, of course, if you have low income, you can apply for the SNAP benefits, aka food stamps. But a portion of these people are labeled as ABAWDs.
What does that mean?
ABAWD stands for able-bodied adults without dependents.
Okay.
These are people ranging from the ages of 18 to 49 that do not have any dependents, and they are not labeled as disabled.
Okay, so from the Trump administration's perspective, would be able-bodied and able to go get a job.
Right. They look at them as, they want them to re-enter the workforce or to, let's say, make, full-time benefits, to work, a full-time shift or a part-time shift, but they're thinking that they don't want to work or do anything.
Right. And
Yeah.
so the idea, from as they see it, is that if these people are able to get jobs, then they're no longer dependent on the welfare system.
He's saying that, yeah, exactly. It's okay to lend someone a hand, but don't enable them to make that a way of their life.
And so what is the problem with this policy?
Of course, there's always two sides to every controversy.
Of course.
So I decided to interview Mr. Michael J. Wilson of Maryland Hunger Solutions. Now, Maryland Hunger Solutions is a philanthropic organization that's inspiring to end hunger from everybody in Maryland, but not just that, to improve their health and well-being as well.
Okay.
So Mr. Wilson is saying that most people on SNAP that can work, they do work. And 43% of people receiving SNAP have some form of income.
Right.
Now, he says too that low income receiving people, they have low income paying jobs that give them inconsistent scheduling, insignificant amount of work hours. They can't necessarily help that.
Right.
So by pushing them into poverty to push them farther into the workforce is not necessarily the answer.
Right. So he's saying that by taking benefits away from a person once they have a job is not a real solution to lift people out of poverty.
Right, because see the ABAWDs, they have specifications they have to follow. So they have to work a minimum of 20 hours a week. If not, they can make that up through a school, a volunteer training program, or a volunteer site.
Okay.
Now, if they don't make these requirements, they only can receive food stamps for three months in a 3-year time frame.
Okay.
After that, they're exempt.
Okay.
Now, in the past, areas that had high unemployment rate, they were able to get a waiver.
Oh, okay. Like an exemption from that rule. Okay.
Right. But now the policy is the area has to be 20% above the national average unemployment rate.
Okay. So, oh, sorry, go on.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so as you said, this could impact how many Americans?
700,000.
And 30,000 Marylanders? Well, I look forward to hearing more about this. I think we should dive into what is the current policy and what is the proposed policy, and more into the research you've done and the interviews you've done with the people who are impacted by this. So I look forward to hearing more about it.
Yes.
Thanks so much.